Steve Smith here, CAD Tech Guru. I'm going to give you another example of drafting interior elevations. In this example, I guess I'm going to show you I've got another project that's the same concept, and I've already done elevations for the previous, place where they were going to build one of these, and I'm going in and drawing new elevations in a new space. But I've got a lot of information that I can steal from the old elevations in order to draw the new one. So I'm just going to try to highlight some techniques on how to go about laying those out quickly and stealing as much as possible so that I don't have to redraw a lot of information again. Be sure to remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. Here's my floor plan that I'm going to pull lines off of to draw the elevation. Down here I've already keyed them all. They're all ready to go. Keyed how we want to draw them. This is the previous project over here, so I'm going to steal a lot of information from here in order to draw out the new ones. So starting with the first elevation, I'm going to rotate this up like that, and looking at the storefront elevation, I'm just going to copy this whole thing. I'll wait and get those later. Alright, so I'm just going to copy this whole thing up here, and I'm going to move the whole elevation from here, and I'm going to use a point filter, point X, to the edge of the wall right there. So there we go. Now this one's not going to have any of this brickwork going on along here, but it will have the bottom wall here, so it'll have base and all that. So I've already got my 4-inch base drawn and everything. So let me just slide this out of the way for a second, because this door is going to be right up against the edge of the wall in this example. So I'm just going to slide all this over from the edge over 2 inches for the frame that's over there. So the door swing is going to go the opposite direction, so I'm going to mirror that. And then this is just going to be a 2-inch frame on top of that. Now let me do a distance here and see what our ceiling is set. This is set at 10 foot 11. This ceiling is going to be 10 feet. So I'm going to drop that down 11 inches. So there's my paint gypboard. Those we don't need that one anymore. I'm going to mirror this note to the other side, and that is still going to be existing storefront. It's not really pointing to my door anymore. You know what? Because it says and door, let's go ahead and keep it on the other side. That way we can point to the storefront and the door. And then we're going to want one of these down below, since we also have gyp down there. Now we need to get these mullions right. And in this particular example, it's just all one big sheet of glass. So on here, we will just remove all this like that, and then just extend these lines back over. One big piece of glass. So that's elevation 1. So let me flip this over to do the second elevation, and we'll do this one a little bit different. We'll bring it down here. I'm going to draw, well, actually I'm just going to copy the outer line of this one and keep it straight across like that, and move this to point X of that so that it's lined up there. And then I'm going to stretch to point X of this side, so now that is lined up. Now here there's a jog in the wall right here, so we're going to want to pull that line down here, trim it. I'm going to use a little bit of a bolder pen width than the rest of these are going to be, so that it'll pop out a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and offset 4 inches for the base. I'm going to match it to that. And here I'll draw a separate line and make that a bolder pin so it looks like it's closer to you. Alright, there's that. Now there's a cabinet on that wall. So this is the line of the wall fixtures right here. And I'm going to pick it up. Actually, I'm going to move all this stuff at once. I'm going to get all that. That's the paint colors and the dimensions, showing where all that is. This is where the paint stops. They're not going to paint in that area. And the other dimensions, more paint colors and notes. I'm going to go ahead and get the base and everything. So I'm taking everything off of here that goes to the other elevation. Drop it in there. I'm going to just stretch all this down since I'm 11 inches lower. So those are still hitting in the right place. All these notes land right in where they're supposed to be. Now all this needs to slide over. Let's stretch all this down. And then I should be able to just stretch all of this over to there. It's a long elevation. I'll go ahead and just center some of this stuff up just so it looks nicer. And then I'm going to double check to make sure these align with, they're close but not quite. That's the actual fixture there. So let's stretch this side, point X that. So there's that. Now I can move this over just to hit that. And that elevation is done. So next one, I'm going to rotate this up so that I can hit the next wall in the series. Probably going to be about the same as this, but I've got another elevation down here that already has the door on it and everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy all of this. I want this to be point Y of that so that it lines up. Point X of edge of the wall there, and that lines up just right. Now we do have a cabinet here, so I'm just going to move all of this over, point X of that, and then I'm going to stretch this, point X of that. So now there's your cabinet. Slide all this over. And then the rest of this, I'm going to stretch this whole side, point X, this wall there. So now that lines up. There's the door, base, swing is correct. I need to stretch the ceiling down, point Y, so that it matches that. So there's another one. Alright, so now I'm going to rotate this around. Let's bring it in a little closer. Next elevation. I'm going to mirror all of this, because this is going to be real close to the same thing. Then I'll move all this over, point X of that. Then I'm going to stretch all this. Actually, probably don't need to stretch it. It's already lined because I just flipped it, so I don't have to worry about this. This isn't going to have the change in paint color over there, so this is all just going to be paint one. That was behind the counter over there. It's also not going to have this jog out in the wall. That's going to stay at 8 feet, so let's make sure the counter is lining up with this fixture, and yeah, it looks like it does. I'll do it again just to make sure. Yeah, it lines up. Alright, so we got our 8-foot gap there, 8-foot gap there. All these are pointing to where they're supposed to. and that one's done. Save that. So there's the first room, done that quickly. Alright, so now the next room here, I'm gonna move this over to there. And this is not a lot going on in this room. It's gonna look something like this, so I'll just copy that from there. Point Y of that, point X of that. So that gets that in the right place. There's no jump in this wall, so I'm going to extend that back out. I want all these baseboards to be blue. Door might be in the right place because these are usually all laid out the same. So yeah, you can see the door is already in the right place. Don't need two of those. So let's just stretch this and make sure point X that it lines up with this wall. There's that. And I'll just move these around just to make them look a little nicer. So there's that elevation. Alright, rotating around to the next one. Just going to use my aperture here to line up. And since this is mostly just blank walls here, actually, I'm going to just copy. Oh, well, yeah, we forgot to fix the ceiling on this one, so let me stretch this down 11 inches to where it's 10-foot ceiling. Okay. So on this one, I'm just going to start out by copying this much. Point X of that. This wall turns here, so I'll bring that line down. Just trim it off. Extend that over and draw a new line. This is going to be way beyond here, so I'm going to want this to be a lighter color, or a lighter pen width rather, which for me is magenta. And then this I will make green, which is bolder, so it looks like it's closer to you. And that's pretty much all that's on that one. So we're going to want this to call out the paint and material. And I'll do it like that so it points to both areas. And then I'll just copy one of these over. Base one, it's just a 4-inch base. That elevation is done. Alright, let's keep on going. Rotate it like this. Move that up out of the way. Get it in position over here. So now I'm going to copy this elevation from there, point X of that. Alright, so let me go ahead and stretch this side over, which actually it looks like it's already lining up. I'll just go ahead and do point X just to verify that. So there's that. Alright, now my lights, see this side over here is actually closest to me now. Let me move this out of the way. And I'm just going to mirror this and then stretch it over point X of the jog in the wall right there. So that's where that jog happens. This side is closer to me. This is the bathroom door, which is going to be a wood door, so I'm going to copy all of this from here and just drop it on there right there. And then I'm just going to draw a line on the edge of the door. See, it's way over there. So let's just stretch all this over here. So that door is in the correct place. Now there's another door here, which is the metal door. See, this is a wood door. Here's a metal door right here. So I'm going to copy all this. Let's get it from the edge there. I'm going to go point X of that. like that, and that drops it right in the right place. So I'm going to flip these, and then we'll move this guy over back into here. These arrows will work better, I think, if I flip those around. Okay, so there's our metal door, there's our wood door. There's an electrical panel on this wall, so I'm going to go in and grab the electrical panel. I'll just pick it up from the floor line, drop it on there, and just move it over like this. Let's see, I think this note might work better. I'm going to, maybe we can move it down here on the bottom. Existing panels. Just bring that around like that. That works. Alright, let's trim this base out on the door. We'll point to this one over here. Let's, sometimes it can be kind of challenging to get all the notes to fit in there. Alright, let's flip that around and point to there and trim that door base out. And that's pretty much all of that wall. Now the next wall is this one over here. You know what? It's going to be the same width as this wall. It's just nothing to it. I'm not even going to bother rotating the drawing. All we got to do is just get rid of this, extend that, and that's it. That's that wall. Okay, so the only thing left is the restroom. So let's line this up. Alright, in the restroom there's a lot more going on, so there's a lot more to deal with here. So this is the door with, this is the wall with nothing but the door on it. So I'm going to go over here to my restrooms. There's the one with nothing but the door on it. We'll have to get rid of that sink. So I'm going to copy this one like that. Let's make sure we're lining up our floor lines. We're getting all our, got all our ceiling lines lined up. Okay, point Y of that. Point X of that. I'm assuming everybody knows what a point filter is, and that's what I'm using to line these things up in most cases. If you don't, leave a message in the comments below if you'd like me to explore that a little more, and I'll do a video dedicated to point filters. Okay, let's see, our FR, we don't have the mirror and all that in this elevation, so I'm going to get rid of the sink. We don't need the dimensions for it. We do need to call out the FRP. Of course, now our hatch pattern has got a hole in it from that, so we'll have to redo that. This is the height of the wainscot, the FRP wainscot. Okay, so that's good. So let me go ahead and just do a boundary hatch. You know what? Before we do that hatch, let's just double check and make sure the door is in the right place. Which, yeah, see, it's a little off. Alright, so I'm just going to stretch right through there. Line that door up. There we go. So now we can do the hatch, and I'm just going to match the properties of this hatch and just, ew, not the desired result. Okay, let me, yeah, see, I got a little hole there. Let's try that one more time. Okay, hatch, there we go, that's better. So there's the FRP. That finishes that elevation. Alright, next one, rolling right around. Let me line this up. This is going to be the one with the sink on the profile of the sink. So let me grab that one, because that's the same one I just had that's got the profile on the sink. So we'll just make a copy of that. And here, point X, here, point Y of here, and that gets us lined up. We are not going to have a door on this one. We're probably going to want to redo that. So let's get rid of all this door stuff. I'm going to get rid of those lines and just extend these all the way across. Now, all these notes basically can just mirror to the other side. Let me make sure that I've got the elevation the right width. So I'm going to grab that and stretch point X right there. It was a little bit off. Alright, and then I'm just going to flip this whole thing. You know what, I can just flip the whole elevation. As long as I get it from the midpoint, it'll still be aligned up on top. So that, okay, now this I think might look a little nicer if we put it on the other side. Kind of move it up in here. Point that back down there like that. Yeah, that looks a little nicer. Alright, and then I'm just going to slide that over. I'm just trying to even things out to make them look nicer. And then that should be all for that. So then we can just throw our hatch pattern in there. And there's that elevation. I think that's it. Okay, so now the next elevation is going to be with the toilet and the sink on it. So I'm going to rotate this around. Just kind of move it up in here. These long elevations are kind of squirrely. Alright, so here's that one. It's got the toilet and sink. Again, it's flipped, so we'll have to flip it. But let me just copy this. You can see how much time this saves by just modifying elevations, because these have a lot of information on them. Alright, so we're going to line up with that. Point Y, line up with the floor. You know what, I forgot to pull my ceiling down on those. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that down 11 inches so that it matches the other ones. We've got 10-foot ceilings here. Alright, so now here's all this stuff. Let me get this pulled out a little bit. Alright, so we're going to want to flip it right off the bat. And then we need to, let me erase this. We need to stretch this wall over slightly to match this wall. But we want to keep the toilet position the way it is because ADA purposes, you know, it has to be 18 inches off the wall and all that. So we want to stretch that without messing with any of this other stuff. So let's stretch this and get right through the middle there. And then I'll just deselect this and this so that I can pull that over like that. Easy as that. Alright, so now this is all in the right place. I'm ready to go. All I got to do is rehatch. I'm going to layer all this stuff off and do my hatch pattern. We missed a little hole up in here. And there we go. Layers back on. So there's that one. Alright, the only one left is the one with the profile of the toilet side view there. Let me just pull this down in here. Go back to my other drawing. Here's the one with the toilet to the side. So I'm going to copy that from the corner. And I'm going to go point X. From there, point Y. There. Stretch this down 11 inches. So there's that. This one needs to flip. So there's the flip. We need to get this wall lined up, so I'm just going to stretch right through here. I'm trying to not have to redo that hatch pattern. So there's that. Now you see the hatch didn't go with it. It doesn't like to stretch, but you can always just update this hatch with the grips if there's not a lot going on with it, like this one. So that one's good, just like that. And that's the last one. The only thing left to do here would be to lay these out on the sheets. So I'll go ahead and do that for you real quick because I only got so much room here to work with. I think these will fit, so I'm going to grab these two and just kind of drop it in here. Move previous, my note's falling off the side. Yeah, that's getting tight. You know, I may need to just push that down a little bit, or I may be able to relocate that. Let's see if we've got room to just push it down a little bit like that. Alright, and then I'll move these other two down in here like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna have room. Alright, so I'm just gonna move the whole rest of this line about there. Yeah, so see, I'm gonna have to, okay, we're gonna have to rearrange this, so I'm gonna pull this off to the side and move all of this up as high as I can. And I'm gonna scooch all this up a little bit more. Let me see how much room I'm gonna have after I put my keys in. These are the detailed titles, sales area. So see, I'm gonna need a little bit of space under it, so I'm just gonna pull this up, yeah, about there. I don't want to crowd it too much. And then I'm gonna get all of these up like this, and then I'll pull all the restroom ones over like this, and then I got plenty of room for my finish schedule right here. There we go. So copy this over. This is going to be sales area 202. Both of these are sales areas. So that one's going to be 3. This one is 4. This is going to be the back room. So let's copy that. 5, back room. 6, 7, and 8. Alright, so 5, 6, there's 7, and there's 8. Alright, and now the other one is the restroom, so let's copy that. Getting a little tight there. Let's see if we can move this around a little bit. I can probably slide this one up just a hair. Like that. Move this one up. And then I might pull this down just a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Alright, so I ended with 8, so this is going to be 9. Alright. Some copies. Making copies. Alright, so this one is 10. This one is 11. And this one is 12. And that is all. So that's it. See how quickly we can lay out elevations, especially when we have all this information drawn in. We save tons of time by laying that out that way. So that's about the end of that one. So I hope this information was helpful. Be sure and like this video before you leave, and go over there to the side there and hit the subscribe button to my channel, and we'll keep these videos coming. Leave me some comments and let me know what other topics you'd like me to discuss. Have a good one.